it, baby. All the way from Florida. Great driving. Those certainly don't look like lakes. They are huge. It definitely looks like the ocean. And here we are in the UP. Well, we just drove 5.5 hours from Sterling State Park on Lake Erie, and now we're at Tahquamenon State Park, which is on Lake Superior, but this is just like a little cove. Look at our site. It's gorgeous. This is our camp. See, our camp's right there. We got all set up tonight. I think that there's 2 sites here on the water. One of them is over there by those canoe rentals, and then ours. So, I mean, I booked this site the day that it came open, and we got a great spot. We're in site number 20. I'll show you more tomorrow. We Floridians have quite the fire going tonight. This is my lumberjack husband, my outdoorsman. He's serious about this fire. Well, we woke up, we've had breakfast, we're getting ready to head out, but Fred wants to show me something down here.
Do you think a beaver did that?
Kind of looks like it, doesn't it?
Looks like it.
Is this what you wanted to show me?
Yeah, that's what I want to show you.
That is pretty interesting. I don't know what could have done that.
Looks like a beaver.
Well, with quite a bit of effort, we are finally in the truck this morning. It's around 10 o'clock and we're going to go explore this area. So right outside of the Tahquamenon Falls State Park is this little town called Paradise. This is a very small town. There does not seem to be much in here. And as a matter of fact, the population up here, there's not much to the population. It's pretty sparse. Fred has decided he could easily live up here. He says you have the best of both worlds if you're a sportsman. You have hunting, or you have fishing on Lake Superior on one side, and then you have hunting across the street. So I think he's ready to move up here. Okay, so we are at the Shipwreck Museum on Whitefish Point. This area of Lake Superior is like the most treacherous. So there's more shipwrecks in this area than any other part of Lake Superior. And this lighthouse is the oldest working lighthouse on Lake Superior. This is the gift shop. Oh, it's beautiful in here. Look at all the cool books they have about this area. Fred's getting all the intel. Look at this fudge. So what all did that lady say?
She told us that our ticket would get us into all the green buildings. Number 2 is not open right now. The other buildings are free.
So we are taking this boardwalk out to the beach. So this what we're looking at right here is a Michigan coastal dune. And the Michigan shoreline is a showcase for 275,000 acres of sand dune formations. We're actually having to walk up a sand dune. So this area is where they view this raptor migration, and they keep track of the raptors that they see here, and there are several photographers taking pictures.
I thought it was awesome to see 150 blue jays per hour.
Yeah.
150 blue jays?
You look up
amazing.
and it was just like, it was just
Written in backwards, except they were blue jays.
That is. So I could certainly sit up here all day with these photographers and watch for these birds. What a cool thing to do. Okay, so we're back down, but you know, before we came here, I did read about this area at Whitefish Point, and it is very famous for bird watchers. So check this out. This is the rudder of the rudder and tiller is from a wooden steamer M.M. Drake, shipwrecked 6 miles west of Whitefish Point on October 1901. So this is the Coast Guard station, and Fred wants to see if it's open. He says that this is where the Coast Guard, their barracks are located.
Private quarters.
Yeah, it does say private quarters. So here are the quarters of the lighthouse keeper. I guess that's an old washboard. Lamp, lenses, and fuel. Whitefish Point, 1861. That's it. That's a replica of where we are right now. I think my mother would really like this place. This seems like something she would love. So here is a logbook from 1903.
And then upstairs, there are 2 bedrooms on each side.
Oh, okay.
And there's,
So we did miss the mosquitoes? There
you
were
did miss the mosquitoes.
mosquitoes. Were they bad?
They haven't hatched yet, so probably in another week or 2. It's been cold, so they're a little slow getting
We're going to be
started.
here, I think, about 3 more weeks.
Okay, well, you might catch the end.
We
of it.
might. Okay. Here's a map that shows where we're at. We are right here at this point. She said that there were some very realistic mannequins. Oh my gosh, that is like crazy realistic. Check this out. This old typewriter. And this is a little girl that used to live in this room. Her name was Bertha. She was born in 1910. And
Well, they had a rough, tough life here. Lonely life.
why do you say that?
Because this was operated by a family.
Yeah?
There was a guy who spent, he and his wife lived here for over 20 years to operate that lighthouse.
He and his wife lived here for 20 years.
And their kids.
And
They
their
had
2 kids.
3 kids.
3.
And this was a government job.
Really?
The lighthouse service was separate. It was a separate government job. Then it was merged into the Coast Guard sometime later.
This must have been the parents' room, the master bedroom. Check this room out.
Look at this.
In the summer of 1918, Carlson ended up with a second assistant keeper who turned out to be a German spy. See their 3 children there in that portrait?
Cousin Carlsons.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
All blonde-haired, blue-eyed children.
They were of Swedish descent.
Oh, and this is the dining room. This is really well done. And the kitchen, oh my gosh. Old stove. Wow. Check out this mannequin. A little kitchen table. So this is the beach area. Whitefish Point has been called the graveyard of Lake Superior. Since navigation began on Lake Superior, there has been approximately 550 wrecks.
The Edmund Fitzgerald went down in 1975.
I think these people are looking for rocks and agates. So I was just talking to these ladies, and they pick up all these flat black rocks and they paint them with acrylic paint, and they showed me a picture of some of their paintings, and they're just gorgeous. They painted like little ladybugs on them. Look at all these rocks. at this. Look how pretty they are. Look at that. They're gorgeous. Look at that. Look at this one. Baby, put these in your pocket.
Pick up that one, those two.
Oh. Oh, look, if you get in the water, and I brought my boots, if you get in the water, you can get a lot more of them. So on Facebook, there are groups dedicated to this area. It's called the Rock Hounds of Michigan. And this is one of the areas that I have seen them talk about for collecting some of these rare rocks. And also the driftwood. Look at all the pieces of driftwood that you could collect. Beautiful. I see Fred is up there putting all the little rocks that I collected in a bag so we can take them. I think there'll be more spots too that we can find where we can get some more rocks. But I got these black ones. I'd like to paint those like those women were talking about. So now we are headed over to the Shipwreck Museum.
Yeah, this is the home.
Yes, of the lighthouse keeper.
And he had access to the lighthouse. You see that walkway?
Let's see. Here, so, oh, I do see it. See that access way? Look at that. So here's artifacts from the Edmund Fitzgerald. This is a replica of the Edmund Fitzgerald. What they hoped would be a route to the Orient turned out to be a freshwater lake and was named Lake Superior, by far the largest, coldest, and deepest body of freshwater in the world. Lake Superior has since entombed in her icy depths the remains of over 550 shipwrecks. The invincible Lake Superior's first shipwreck. So this is a 4th order Frenzel lens. don't miss this museum. Well, we headed back inside the gift store. This is a film about the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
45 miles north of Marquette is a shallow spot known as Standard Rock, where there's a lighthouse out there that sits all by itself.
Really?
Yes, I've been out there a couple of years ago fishing.
All right, so after watching that short film, we have to go back to the museum to make sure we have photographed this bell properly. So when the ship sank and the 29 sailors died in that wreck, to commemorate them, since the bodies were not recovered, could not be recovered, they took the bell off of the ship and put it in this museum. Now, the bell that was down there, they actually replaced it with a bell that had the names of all the deceased sailors. So here it is. So this is the actual bell that came off of the Edmund Fitzgerald. This middle building is the one where we just watched that film, and it's an old boathouse. And the guy said that that is the original building. He even said those were the original shingles. He said they were the old asbestos shingles, and they are 100 years old. That's what he said. So I guess, you know, all these buildings, the Coast Guard building and the lighthouse building, I guess those are all the original buildings. I mean, look at that. That is something. I mean, this is where these people lived. They lived in that house, in that location, in that lighthouse. So this is the Whitefish Point Boat Harbor. Mooring and launching facility. And then another spot where you can access the beach. Probably a good spot for rock collecting. That's what those people are doing. Now, some people at the campsite last night told us that this little restaurant was really good. It's called The Inn. So Fred and I are drinking the Red Jacket Amber beers. They were brewed in the Quinoa Peninsula. So Fred has whitefish and chips. They said that it was caught off Lake Superior and brought in a couple of hours ago. He said it's very fresh. And I got the whitefish tacos. The waiter was highly recommending them. So we saw this sign for Chris Point Lighthouse, and we even saw brochures for it, and we just turned off, and it says it's 18.5 miles down this dirt road. So we're probably going to pass on that. All right, so we drove about 40 minutes to come into the town of Newberry to do 9 days worth of laundry. We found this laundromat, and Fred, he's hot to go get an oil change, so he's gonna go get an oil change while I stay here at the laundromat and take care of this little housekeeping issue. So the name of this campground that we are staying at in Tahquamenon Falls is called RiverMouth Campground. And this little body of water right behind our campsite is the river. And we are right at the mouth of the river where it flows into Lake Superior. And this campsite 20, now that we've been here for a little while, is most definitely the best campsite I have seen in this park. When you go up towards the front of the park, seems like it gets a little congested. Now where this black camper is, that looks pretty good too. I'm not sure what campsite that is, but if you can get them right here next to the river. Well, this is our second night here, and it's so pretty as the sun sets over the mouth of this river. People fishing there.
Yep.
Look at this.
bring your coffee? You see how smell it.
I did bring my coffee.
Oh, sure, baby. That's down.
You want some of my coffee?
Yeah, take a little sip. Like good.
Yes. Look at this beach. This place is a fisherman's paradise, isn't it? Would you like to be out there fishing?
Oh, yeah.
I think some people in these campgrounds have been out there and they caught some walleye. I heard them talking behind us.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So Fred thinks that when we were standing on Whitefish Point at the beach earlier, and he commented about that landmass, he thinks that was Canada. So he's going to get the map. He's going to show me what he's talking about.
Look here, sweetheart. Here is Whitefish Point right there, okay?
Right.
That's Canada.
Yes, it is. Oh my gosh, we were looking at Canada.
We were looking at Canada. Sioux St. Marie is right there.
Yes, it is. You are correct. So show where we are on the map right now. Where are we?
We are right out here. It's south of Paradise.
Mm-hmm. And earlier today we went up to Whitefish Point.
Yep.
And then where did we go do the laundry?
Down here at Newberry.
Mm-hmm. And where's the town of Paradise?
Right there.
Yeah.
So when we leave to go to our next campsite, we go down the same road, 123, through Newberry, pick up 28 here, and go west all the way over to the next campsite.
Which is Pictured Rocks.
Yeah. Up at the ranger station, there is a shadow box profiling the life of a moose they called or named Gulliver. Gulliver was trapped in the wild in Ontario, Canada back in 1985 and translocated to this area and released. And he was a huge moose, and they believed he probably fathered many, many children during his time here. He lived for about 11 years. They had a radio tracking collar on his neck, but eventually the tracking collar malfunctioned and became no longer of value. So in about 1996, a local found his remains in the woods here, and his skull is on display in that shadow box up there at the ranger station. That's it.
So today we are headed to the upper and lower falls at Tahquamenon Falls. These are the lower falls, and the lower falls consist of a series of 5 smaller falls that cascade around this island. And you can take a little canoe or a rowboat that can be rented from the park concession over to the island. So the river's amber color, which I believe we'll be able to see as we get closer to the falls, is caused by tannins that are leached from the cedar, spruce, and hemlock trees. This is an extremely soft water, and it's churned by the action of the falls, and it causes the river's trademark large amounts of foam. And you can see some of the foam right here. And this is a sign that talks about the beaver, and it shows pictures of a stump just like the one Fred showed us back at the campground. So it looks like maybe about a quarter mile back here to the falls, maybe a little less, but it's a nice boardwalk the whole way. One thing to note is there are 3 locations at this park. There's one, the RiverMouth Campground. There's a separate location for the lower falls, and then about 3 miles away from that is the upper falls. The volume of water that comes here is just incredible to see. superior. It is really pretty here. Beautiful. There's some kind of a metal bridge here that looks like it goes across to this little island. This is quite an impressive river.
There's a trail on the other side of the river that's closed, but you can walk that trail to the upper falls.
It's a long way. It's several miles, and a lot of people do that. It's a day hike. I've seen on other videos. If you're huge into hiking, that'd be a great hike to take if you have the time.
Get dropped off here and get picked up at the upper falls.
Yeah. Oh, right here's the one of the falls. Right before you go over. Look at these woods, how thick they are. So now we're gonna head to the upper falls. I'm hopeful that the upper falls are gonna be even more beautiful. The peak flow occurs in mid-April. We're about May 20th right now. The record flow was 52,000 gallons per second, and that was in 1960. Glad we don't have the dogs right now.
Good thing we left the truck.
Yep. Oh my goodness, look at this. What's the saying? Going down is optional, but coming up is mandatory.
It's true.
Oh yeah, Tahquamenon Falls Brewery and Pub. Oh wow. And here's the little restaurant. They also have a little gift store. Nice gift store. Lots of things for you to spend your money on in here. And we didn't leave there without spending a little bit of money. So around this area, there's about 3 different restaurants. There's this one, the Inn, which was where we ate yesterday. And believe it or not, Fred wants to come back here. Yes, those fish tacos were that good. Fred wants them today. There's also a little place that's very close to here. I'll try to remember the name of it in a few minutes. And then there's the restaurant at Tahquamenon Falls, the Upper Falls, which I showed you a few minutes ago. But 3 pretty decent places to eat. We can certainly attest to this one. We got the same beer that we got yesterday. So good. Well, right now we are heading to Sioux Ste. Marie. It's right on the Canadian border, and they have the Sioux locks there. It's supposedly a great engineering feat that connects Lake Huron to Lake Superior. And there's an observation deck, and they even have Sioux Lock boat tours. I'm not sure if we're going to do that or not, but it's just something that's available. And to get there from Tahquamenon Falls, we are taking the Whitefish Point Scenic Byway, and it travels right along the edge of Lake Superior. So today is May 21st. And we are early in the season for the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. As a matter of fact, I don't believe that we've passed one car on this scenic byway in the 10 or 15 minutes that we've been on it. And the temperature's really nice. It's up in the 60s today. It'll be up in the 60s tomorrow. At night, it's the 40s, very low 40s. It's a little chilly at night, but it actually feels very nice. We are now back on 75 North, and Interstate 75
Turn right.
starts in Florida, where we live, and we travel 75 frequently. And 75 dead ends in Sioux Ste. Marie at the International Bridge going over to Canada. So you can take 75 all the way from Florida, all the way up to the Upper Peninsula and go into Canada and stay on 75 the entire time. It almost looks like there's a check up there, doesn't it?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, we definitely don't want the
At
border
the stop
guards
sign, turn left
checking
onto
our
West Easterday
vehicle.
Avenue toward Portage Avenue. Then turn right onto West Portage Avenue.
Those look like locks, don't they?
Yep.
Yes. So right here is this river, and across this river, that's Canada. That's how close we are. There's the bridge that connects the United States to Canada, and right over here is Canada. And you can see Lake Superior just in these people's backyards. There's Lake Superior, and across the way you can see a landmass over there. That's Canada. Imagine looking out your kitchen window in your backyard and looking across the river into Canada. Is that the river or is that Lake Superior? I think that's Lake Superior.
It's Lake Superior.
Yeah, Lake Superior. So here is this lighthouse. We're going to go take a look. Point Iroquois Lighthouse. Look at this stone fence. Oh, unique that is. Very pretty. There's Lake Superior. There's Canada. I bet these stones came out of Lake Superior.
Probably. Walk from the house inside the tower, then go up the stairs.
Right, it's connected. That when it's really cold and snowing, that sure would be nice, right?
Sure would.
Oh boy, look at the rocks down here. I'm gonna have to go collect a few. My pockets are full of rocks and my pants are trying to fall down. And my pocket's so full. Look how pretty these trees are.
Aren't the white barks called aspen?
I don't know.
I thought they were.
I'll have to look that up. These old lighthouses are just so fascinating. It's Sunday evening. We've had a beautiful day. It's been wonderful. The weather is just perfect. It's May 21st. Couldn't ask for nicer weather here. And the campground has cleared out a little bit from the weekend. I'll give you a look around from our perspective anyway. Fred's about to build another fire. I'm cooking the dogs dinner. And then we are retiring for the evening. Tomorrow we go to Picture Rocks. We have a campground over there and we'll be there for 4 nights. Looking forward to that. Although this has been an amazing spot to tour the eastern part of the Upper Peninsula. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure you subscribe and stick with us through this tour of the Upper Peninsula. So right off of the interstate, about 50 miles before you get to the Mackinac Bridge, there is this crucifix in the woods, and it's supposed to be the largest crucifix in the world. So a friend at church told us about this place. He's from Michigan. He said it's, you know, an easy stop off the interstate. Take a look at it. So we're here. And there's big black squirrels here, and these dogs are going nuts.